So next up, we're going to hear from Dr. Annie Feighery, CEO of mWater.
Thank you. My name is Annie Feighery. Today I will talk to you about the platform for which I'm the CEO and co-founder, mWater. mWater is a global technology platform for managing infrastructure in water and sanitation. It also serves as a operating system for governments and their stakeholders to manage, observe, and react to the data that helps to run all of these sectors. Our users are in 197 countries. Over 250,000 users represent governments, water agencies, the stakeholder NGOs, researchers, and we also have. Well, first, let me explain. They all use the platform entirely for free, without a relationship to us, much like you might use Google Docs. But we do make funded relationships with donors to create custom iterations of the platform or to advance features for further sectors. And we've done that in 32 countries. We've heard a lot today about the scope of the water crisis and the data needs to address it. The thing that we want you to understand is, from mWater's perspective, the best way to create massive amounts of quality data is to work with the ground level system operators who generate the data by doing their job. mWater is a platform that offers an app that is a free download in the iOS and Apple stores. It is available in 23 languages. It works on and offline. Our users use the app to do their work like mapping pipes or assessing fees, responding to leaks, mapping dams and assets of dams, monitoring dams, something that's very critical and on our mind this week. And then their supervisors oversee that data in the data management portal, which is a computer-based interface where they analyze the data, they create reports, they create data visualizations and maps in dashboards. And those dashboards then are able to be shared in collaboration with decision makers in their government and with donors. And the important thing about that is that they're making decisions then not on dead data in PDF files, but rather in live data, in real-time data, in dashboards fed by the app as it's coming in. Now, mWater is the largest database for water and sanitation data in the world. Running this gives us a unique perspective of seeing the 30,000 foot or the 10,000 meter from my Canadian colleagues view of the world with sector trends and best practices. We've distilled this into 3 core concepts. The first one I want to talk to you about is self-efficacy. My doctorate and my background is in public health. And in public health, all of behavior change rests on the theory of self-efficacy. This is a theory that taking of a behavior change is more likely if a person believes that they are capable of taking up that behavior change. If they could, they would. If they even tried it, they could. And the second is if they did it, it would matter. So you can think of the classic example of smoking cessation. And here, if a person wanted to consider quitting smoking, they would first consider, if I tried, could I? And if I did it, would it matter given other health conditions that I'm living with? And so in the behavior change that is adopting a data management system and a culture of data management, we see that institutions, whether it's institutions on the ground or donor institutions that are creating policies and helping to empower, that institutions have to believe that countries and local actors can manage quality data systems. And we have seen in all 32 countries where we work that the capabilities and the ability to is there on the ground in every case. And in every case that it was enacted, it did improve their work in water services provision. The second important issue is to consider extractive data practices. we're at the crossroads where we're fighting for the heart of data. Do we, do we follow the bad practices of neocolonialism of the past, or do we adopt wonderful new trends of empowering and respecting, for example, countries' sovereign right to ownership of their own data? Data is the new sustainability. This is the thing that everybody's talking about. So it's really important for us to have this conversation right now. Academic research, there's represented at this table, is a great example. Traditionally, academic research was by definition an extractive activity. And I use that word extractive, the verb, on purpose, because it's like a jewel being mined and taken to another country and sold without benefiting the country from which it came. Now you have the emerging better directions like implementation science that are helping to turn this curve and to let academic research empower and strengthen countries. An example of this, what does this look like on the ground, is if you're going to conduct a study, align your data that you need to collect with the local or national indicators so that you're working to improve their data set in ways that's collaborative and comparable with local data. And make sure that you're sharing your data in real time, not after publication. And also, and third, and this is most important, partner with local researchers intimately, in a real way, in a way that they're co-authors and not names in your acknowledgements section. So then the other side of that is the investment model. We understand in our sector that 4 times more investment is needed in infrastructure and institutions if we're going to even come close to achieving SDG 6. One important part of that is the finance discussion, how to get more money. An important part also, though, is how to do more with the money you have. It's a mistake to create a parallel data system that competes with the existing government one instead of investing in the quality of it. It's also important to look at the actions of aid instead of as interventions that start and end as the beginning of investments. And data management systems are important places to invest. Third, we want to talk about a really important definition here. What is the difference between a data repository and a data management system? Here in venues like this, a lot of what we're talking about is data repositories. These are very important, large databases. We're probably all very familiar with HDX, one of the biggest of them, where people voluntarily contribute their PDF or their CSV documents of their data, and the institution then collates and or curates the data into data sets that can be used off the shelf in, say, a natural disaster for situational awareness. This is very important, but this is dead data and it's not aligned with national data sets country by country. When we talk about data management systems, what we're talking about is something by definition that has a front-end user interface. In mWater, that's the app. We have something that people use to do their job that's putting the data in, and data entry is not an extra activity. We also have data management systems are owned by the governments where they are, and while we want them to make their data open, it is their choice to. Here's some examples of some data management systems. In Haiti, USAID has partnered with mWater to create SIEPA, a national management system for urban water in Haiti. We call it SIEPA, not mWater, on purpose, because part of our learnings are to brand technology by the country and not by the aid terminology in order to help uptake of the technology. SIEPA is used across the CTEs, which are the utilities of Haiti. This is CTE Lakai, where ground level workers are using the app to map pipes, to report outages, to respond to outages, and that data is then being fed to the data management system, where the supervisors are looking at that data in terms of indicators. In this case, it's 13 KPIs, or key performance indicators, that the government has chosen to monitor their progress. These KPIs right now are things like reducing non-revenue water, improving on fees collected, but they want to expand the things that you've heard about today, like monitoring saltwater incursion or groundwater degradation. The next example is more rural. This is the government of Uganda. In this case, the Conrad Hilton Foundation has partnered with mWater to help the government to move what is the water atlas, a mapping of water points, into a management system. In a rural area, the water points being so far apart is one of the hardest things about keeping up-to-date awareness. But with mobile phones, with the app on mobile phones, and mobile phones being so common, we can really take the next step into making a monitoring system to know how the water points are doing. Surveys can be run, pictures can be taken, and then anyone from the local district water office to the National Ministry of Water can open the platform and see in the water atlas what is the status, for example, of functionality. Functionality is a really important indicator to look at, especially in a place like Uganda, because it can often let you know the situation with equity and where important investments are needed. You can see in the third slide, for example, towards the north, in the third image, towards the north, there's a lot of water points that are completely abandoned. This is an area that had a lot of refugee activity, and abandoning those is a significant ambitious activity that the government wants to undertake. It becomes very evident in the data where they are. Returning to these three core concepts, I want to point out that here in 2023, we're standing at the inflection point midway through the SDGs. Looking forward, I think we can comfortably expect data to play a big role in the rest of the SDGs, but in the follow-on goals, I hope we call for a goal entirely dedicated to data. And we need to start now by deciding how to protect that goal so that it is meaningful. We need to take the lessons that we've learned to trust these governments that can do a great job managing their own data systems. We need to make sure that important stakeholders like academic institutions are by policy mandated to invest in and not extract with their activities. And most importantly, we need to look at creating a fluency among our policymakers to understand even the differences in kinds of data and which ones matter most to the governments that we all work to serve. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you for sharing your vision and all of the amazing work that you're doing in, I think, 197 countries.